Trucking technology. Hi, I'm Alexius Moore. I was originally born in Michigan and I study supply chain at Kennesaw State. I also work in the supply chain industry. EDI is electronic data interchange. So just kind of think of one system talking to another. So similar to when you buy things online, that's communicated through the system. And logistics uses it in a little bit of a different way. Each interchange is the interchange of responsibility. So once the product goes from one carrier to the next and so forth. And the transactions look similar to these. And so forth until it gets onto the truck. EDI correspondence. When I used it when I worked at China Shipping, which is a steamship line similar to like Costco's, and it's various different ones. We use transactions like this in our system. This is export full vessel. Is this transaction? Import full vessel. Now this is a very important move because this means it's arriving to the American port, and the next interchange logically that will follow that is an offload full vessel transaction. That means it's been offloaded at the port, and this is very important because this triggers something. This is the screen that I used to have when I worked in EDI at China Shipping, and the transaction that is offload full vessel means that your container has now been offloaded off of the vessel and now needs to be picked up from the port, or is going to accumulate demurrage, which are charges. Okay, and the next transaction that will follow is an IFO. An IFO transaction will error out here if it does not have a noted carrier, and you get this error message. Okay, so all these transactions have to correspond together, and they all need something to be processed through the system. Now, once you get an IFO, the container is going to outgate. You need the carrier to outgate your container, and then it'll go to your, be on its way to your customer. And these are different, the port, the rail, the steamship lines, take it to the port might take it to the rail, like it's a lot of different, and then from the rail it might outgate, from the port it might outgate, various transactions here that go through. Okay. And when we're tracking our shipments for import, this is an actual satellite view of a bunch of vessels trying to get in the United States, trying to leave. I mean, this is a traffic jam. We think that Atlanta traffic's bad. This is a live feed of all the ships. These are big commercial ships, container lines, people just out fishing, domestic carriers. I mean, this is a bunch of ships and the satellite view of them trying to get into the port to get their things unloaded. This is the port trying to control the congestion. It's a whole fly. Okay, and this is, and I'll put a link to this site because this is how we kind of try to time how long it was going to take for us to get things in once it got to the port, because mind you, it might have to go through customs and various other different things your container has to go through. And then to remind you, even one vessel has to unload all of these containers. And as you see here, if you click on the route forecast on this website, it'll give you the routing for that particular vessel. This is just an example of one. It'll be whatever vessel you're looking for, obviously. And this is an example of how that vessel's outgate. going to another country, and then there. Okay. And this is something else that I use, which is the rail interchanges. This is all our rails that we have in the United States. So say for instance, once the container got off of the actual vessel at the port, and it decided not to outgate to a truck or a carrier, it went on to kind of a cross dock situation, but it wouldn't be called cross dock in this instance. But if you're familiar, this is where it would go from a rail to the closest city, and then it would outgate from there via trucker. So AI technology. AI is influencing. If you look here, this is a smart platform. It's collecting data steadily as they're checking the shipments. We have our drones or trucks. We have a import coming in, an export going out, pallets being pulled to load onto trucks, etc. Big data, artificial intelligence is playing a big role in all of these things, making it faster, efficient, and cost conservative for the warehouses. The companies, startups like Freightos, I'm sorry, is creating transparency. So this is our port to door. The port, obviously, we just discussed, and the door would be when it arrives to your customer, actually. And this is a way that big data is playing a big role. This is another startup, Flexport. Flexport is using EDI and AI technology to track shipments as well. If you see here, and it gives you dashboards to let you know what's going on with your shipments. AI for businesses help businesses grow. It's optimization of savings, it's managing risk and time, and it's just better. For one thing, you're able to give a clear transparency to your vendors, to your customers, to let them know, like this could be, day one, and this could be day 10 of the shipment process, but at least they know where and what's going on with their shipment, and they're able to communicate that with their customers. Transparency is a big thing, and also knowing key analytics is why AI technology is starting to be more visible in logistics. AI technology and fully autonomous trucks. Many experts believe fully automated trucks won't be on the road anytime soon because there are still many trucking-specific issues to be considered. It was in the 1920s when increased traffic fatalities was the cause of many accidents. So this is the earliest that I found of a fully autonomous vehicle. And back then, the human error. Now they didn't have texting while driving, so I'm not sure what the problem was back then. But as you can see, this is the earliest of autonomous vehicles, and this was radio controlled. So. In 1939, an exhibit by GM had an electric radio controlled vehicle. I was looking at the earliest driverless vehicles, and this one popped up. It didn't have an actual visual of it, but it said it was there at the World's Fair. Companies that invested in autonomous vehicles. If you look, we have some key players here: Lyft, Uber, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Tesla, Bosch. Like, big companies are really interested in getting these vehicles out there and on the road for us. This is a video I couldn't get to play for me, not in just the areas that I needed, but I have put the time frames here for you to watch at your convenience. I'll put the link at the in the discussion, so you can go in and play with me and kind of look at those pretty cool vehicles that are on the road. Why autonomous driverless vehicles in trucking? In 2018, approximately 60,000 truckers, it was a driver shortage. One way to solve the problem of not having enough people to support an industry is to reduce the number of people required. Now, at this time they have autonomous vehicles they're not completely driverless, they're driver assist. So at this point, we won't completely eliminate the driver, but we are very close with the autopilot portion of the autonomous driver. This is one of the first autonomous vehicles that Bosch, and this was back in 2003. It's a bit old and outdated, but still thought it was pretty cool to kind of point the time when we were making this transition in the trucking industry. This is how Bosch's truck looks now. Pretty cool. You know, big screen, lot of cab room here. The first commercial delivery by an autonomous vehicle was in October 2016. 80,000 pounds of beer. And this is Daimler Chrysler's self-driving vehicle. If you watched that video previously, you'll also see this one in action, actually, under Freightliner. This is also a visual of the range, giving you some visuality there of how those sensors are deployed. This is Tesla's. Looks pretty cool. Also has a nice wide cab. Looks like this one is kind of a single, but very electric, obviously, and looks very nice. Now, in 2018, you saw a peak here in our autonomous vehicle investments by these capital firms. But if you look, it's dropped off in 2019, and here's why. There's no clear path to suing a self-driving truck who hits and kills those outside of the truck. In 2016, 3,326 passenger vehicle occupants, motorcyclists, bicyclists, pedestrians died in large truck crashes. Now, keep in mind, these were not autonomous crashes, and then they say, it was caused by the actual, non-commercial driver. But again, they want to have laws that clearly lets them know the liability, even in this case, kind of deal. And there are 29 states that have legislation on the floor about it. And in considering, we're making some headway, but we're not quite there yet. In 2017, 33 states have introduced legislation. In the 2016, 20 states introduced legislation. So, we're making some headway, but we're not quite there with a full, clear path to who's responsible if a trucker hits you, and if a truck hits you and it's automated. They still don't know who's liable and who's responsible in this.